Isidoro M. Cruz, also the person who gave us this book. This poem is called Lechon. At a party, the man sees a roasted pig being chopped with a cleaver knife, and hears the squeal of pigs from decades ago. In his grandfather's yard in the suburbs of Manila, on his mother's 30th birthday, helpers had dragged 2 stubborn pigs out of their corral, their leashes outstretched in stiff diagonals, for they could have known they were headed for the nearby mounds of cool. The then 6-year-old boy caught the glint of knives slashing through the hairless pink skins into throats that squealed and wailed to the heavens until there was a lull, as though he had lost his hearing. A tattooed man thrust a bamboo pole into each pig's behind and out its mouth, and let the pigs rotate for hours above the coal fire, pink turning into brown as a sound system played happy birthday tunes. When night fell, what remained of each pig was its head, an apple, still wedged into its mouth, in a room all by himself. The tired boy slipped into a dream with his shoes on. In the haze was a mound of coal burning. Alright, now we got something interesting here. So the imagery that this paints is lechon, or roast pig. The act of preparing a roast pig, which is seen through the eyes of a young boy. And we are shown the graphic violence which goes into preparing the lechon itself. And it starts with a man already of age. So at a party, the man sees a roasted pig being chopped with a cleaver knife, and hears the squeal of pigs from decades ago in his grandfather's yard in the suburbs of Manila on his mother's 30th birthday. So, seeing lechon. So, there's a sort of trauma. This describes a sort of trauma. The man sees lechon on the table, being chopped with a cleaver. Is a roast pig. And when he sees the lechon being chopped with a cleaver, immediately the trauma is triggered. And it takes him back to decades ago during his mother's 30th birthday, when he saw 2 pigs being led out of their corral in order to be slaughtered. And he sees how they are slaughtered with their throats cut as they squeal. And then a bamboo pole is thrust into them from behind and all the way out their mouths. And then they are roasted under coals, under charcoal actually. Roasted under charcoal for hours until fully cooked, until the skin begins to turn red. Very graphic. And then, while this is going on, there's a sound system, so this is probably somewhere in the suburbs is what it says. That's correct. There's a birthday celebration going on, so happy birthday is being played, or birthday tunes are being played over a very large sound system, which is common here during birthdays. And when night fell, what remained of each pig was the head and an apple, still wedged into its mouth. Yeah, that's how you serve the lechon. You put an apple in its mouth. Interesting poem. It's a poem about childhood trauma, I'd say. Which is punctuated by the final lines. In a room all by himself, the tired boy slipped into a dream with his shoes on. In the haze was a mound of coal burning. That was pretty good. Let's go on to another poem by the same author, Mr. Isidoro M. Cruz. The Flying Sofa. Here we go. A flying carpet, a Turkish man thought to himself as he trained his cell phone camera towards the sky. That stormy morning, the harsh wind had flung it into the air from a balcony of a 35-story condominium in Ankara, Turkey. When it neared the apartment buildings, it turned out instead to be a flying sofa that soon smashed into a garden. In Manila, Philippines, a Filipino watched on his cell phone a YouTube video showing that sofa flying, then plummeting, and wonders what object can slam onto the roof of his house out of nowhere and crush his head. A spy balloon, perhaps, like one shot down by U.S. fighter jets of South Carolina. The weather balloon, as the Chinese claimed, had veered off course, but as CBS News reported, it contained instead high-tech equipment, including multiple antennas for intelligence surveillance that can collect various communication signals and sensitive information. Sleep overcomes him. Is anyone watching? Will he awake the next morning? I'd say the main theme of this one is paranoia from information overload. So, flying carpet, Turkish man thought to himself as he trained his cell phone camera towards the sky. That's stormy. It's also about how people, how different people's perceptions can color their reality, can color objective reality. Different people's perceptions can color objective reality itself. A flying carpet, a Turkish man thought to himself. So they are looking at the same thing. It's the balloon. As he trained his cell phone camera towards the sky that stormy morning, harsh wind had flung it into the air from a balcony of a 35-story condominium in Ankara, Turkey. When it neared the apartment buildings, it turned out instead to be a flying sofa that soon smashed into a garden. Somebody else thought it was a flying sofa. And then a Filipino from the Philippines, of course, watches through a YouTube video. And then he wonders maybe it's a spy balloon. As he's looking at that flying sofa. Maybe it's a spy balloon. And then the Filipino falls asleep. So, yeah, it's about how, I'd say it's partially about paranoia, and it's also about how different people can perceive the same thing very, very differently. So, somebody from Turkey saw it and saw it live and thought, oh, it's a flying carpet. Then it crashed down, and somebody took a YouTube video. A Filipino from the Philippines sees it and immediately thinks something like, oh, it's a Chinese spy balloon, like the one they shot down. Yep. So it's really about how different people from different cultures can perceive the same thing very, very differently. Very good, very good. Well done. Let's read one last poem from the same author. Title of this one is How Was Your Day? For a split second, her left eye was that a wink? One could hardly tell. But already this married man, standing in front of the smiling woman in a crowded bus, feared this face-to-face encounter might lead to a kiss, forbidden like the fruit of the tree of good and evil. Yet it struck him, as he looked out the window, to avoid her gaze, how, as he had seen it happen before, to his prized student, ears plugged with earphones, one crossing the national highway from school, would get hurled away by a wayward truck. Or how, as he had watched in an indie film, a bespectacled hireling fixing an antenna atop a roof, eyes prying into a window nearby, could slide 2 stories down into a neighboring yard, where bulldogs, startled by the fall, would tear at the intruder's flesh over and over. Or as he recalled the breaking news, how a Filipina nurse in a Gaza hospital could be shaken by sudden Hamas bombs, yet be unwilling to leave her parents behind. Even when the married man closed his eyes, he could not shake off the twinkle of teeth, close by the arcs of red lipstick. At times, turning stiff, he did not desire this, did he? But could he be turning reckless, like the wayward truck driver years ago, who could have seen a pedestrian crossing, yet still stepped on the accelerator? The crowded bus rushed to beat the red light, but jolted as it avoided a sudden dog crossing the pedestrian lane. Hello, doucheman. His white stripes painted across the asphalt. White, black, white, black. Like the world when the man's eyes opened and when they closed. Whether his eyes closed or opened, the man could tell. His right hand tight around the grab handle as a jolt sent a woman before him, hurtling into the arms of another. He could almost see his sweaty wife in her duster, standing by the door of their apartment. She would ask him the usual innocent question as he walked in. How was your day? This is a rather comedic scenario. Allow me to explain. At least from how I understand it. So, on the bus, in a crowded bus, on the way home, this guy, who is a married man, which we don't find out until the end of the poem, he's a married man, he's looking at this woman who is, who apparently looks very attractive to him, and she seems to be winking at him. So he's thinking, he's trying to restrain himself, because, any sudden jolt in the bus could lead to an accidental kiss, as he says. So, he's thinking, I need to distract myself. But, how do I do this? And then he imagines, various scenarios which he had heard about over the news. And, even from his own students. So he's a teacher, I guess. So, there was one student who was walking around with his ears plugged with headphones who got hit by a truck on the pedestrian crossing because he wasn't paying attention, apparently. And then there was another one who was fixing an antenna atop a roof, eyes prying into an open window. And then he fell. Hello, zombie. He fell into some neighbor's yard wherein two bulldogs, startled by the fall, started biting him, attacking him. Or then he thinks about the Filipino nurse in a Gaza hospital during the Hamas bombings, who was shaken by the bombings but would not leave her patients behind. And then he gets taken back to reality where he is inside a bus and facing this woman in this crowded bus whom he finds attractive, apparently. And then he thinks about that truck driver who probably saw the pedestrian crossing and still decided to step on the accelerator, thereby killing the student. And then, all of a sudden, the bus that he's riding jolts to a sudden stop in order to avoid a dog. And then the kiss happens. The accidental kiss happens with a woman because of the sudden jolt. Or at least he thinks so, but actually the woman fell into the arms of another man just next to him. And then he's thinking, and then suddenly he's thinking about his wife. He's quite relieved because he's imagining his wife greeting him, asking the usual question, "How was your day?" So the title of the poem is "How Was Your Day?" So this is about anxiety, I guess. Anxiety about being put in an unfamiliar situation, wherein basically everything seems to be out of your control. And at the end of the situation, even though it's out of your control, somebody's going to be there to judge you. In this case, it's his wife. So being thrust into an unfamiliar situation with the various variables out of your control. So all you can do is be anxious and think about the possibilities, what's gonna happen next. Because at the end of the situation, you will be judged by somebody. Yeah, that's how I see it. In this case, it is his wife. Again, a good poem. You want more of these stories? Here we go then. One more for you, Produce Man. Title of this poem is Male Mannequin Reads My Thoughts. Let us begin. Man, you call me a non-living thing. though I have been created in your image and likeness. You see me shirtless, as the store clerk has just taken off my Hawaiian shirt, the last of its size, she has told you. You gauge my body frame, my swimmer's back, shaped like a V for victory, my size XL shoulders, tapering to a foot-wide waist. Your bloated belly is a far cry from my six-pack abs. You sit all too often. You don't work out. By the mirror you push your stomach in to conjure up some flatness there, where your appetite resides. I do not eat. No grilled burgers, sizzling steaks, roasted chicken, layered cakes, ice cream of many flavors. My detachable arms are lean, and my seeming muscles toned. I have no skin. At 6 feet I stand tall on this platform. My legs rise to my floral shorts, that you say you will also try on. The store clerk pulls down my shorts. I feel no shame. Unlike you, I have no thing. Why do you so desire to be reformed into my image and likeness? Nice tension there. It's a good tension, isn't it? So it's male mannequin reads my thoughts. So basically the speaker of this, no. The person who is perceived, the speaker is the mannequin itself. The speaker of this poem is the mannequin itself. The speaker of this poem is the mannequin itself. The mannequin is apparently talking to a man who is out of shape, who has a big belly, is out of shape, unlike the mannequin with its toned six-pack abs and lean arms and tall, 6 feet tall. So basically, the image of perfection. The do not age thing, and they use the example where Japanese use teenage girls in anime games, but justified by them being really 500 years old. Not all the time. Usually, if they're 500 years old, they look like a lolly. Yeah, it's a common trope. So, the mannequin is apparently all perfect, right? Like, it's got toned abs, it's got a thin waistline, unlike the person who is going to be trying on the shorts. And then, at the end, we have these lines. Like, so the store clerk pulls down the mannequin's shorts, who does not feel any shame, because the mannequin has nothing there. And we have the clincher, the final lines. Let's read the last two stanzas. The store clerk pulls down my shorts. I feel no shame. Unlike you, I have no thing. Why do you so desire to be reformed into my image and likeness? It's like, it's a nice contrast. It's like, yeah, you want these six-pack abs? You want these toned muscles? Then again, I have nothing there. I have nothing down there. So, why do you want to be like me so much? Yeah, it's a good contrast, isn't it? What do you guys think of this poem? So, what do you guys think of this poem? I think it's pretty interesting. So far, Mr. Isidoro M. Cruz's poems have all been very interesting. So this is a published book which was gifted to us, to my mother, by Mr. Isidoro M. Cruz, who is actually our neighbor. He is a celebrated writer here locally, as well as having won some national awards. And also a friend of the family since forever.